Hey folks, Machinery Pete here. Tell you what, I've been doing this gig almost 30 years and been looking forward to this day. I'm here with Ruth Klossner, the cow lady of Bernadette, Minnesota. Ruth, thank you for having me out. I'm going to be speaking at the farm show in New Ulm here in a little bit, but opportunity to see the Guinness World Record holder here. And what is the official record, the title, Ruth?
Cow-related items, the largest collection of cow-related items.
Okay, and I understand is it over 18,000?
18,530
Okay.
as of last count.
Okay. Ruth, could we get a little walkthrough of your home and get a little flavor of what you've spent your lifetime building this amazing collection?
Oh, you bet. I love to share it. I say that the hunt for new pieces is half the fun. Sharing it is the other half of the fun.
Wow.
So we get to do half of the fun here today of sharing it.
And let's give a little background here, Ruth. Now, you grew up farm girl here in south central Minnesota, right in Klossner?
Just west of Klossner on a dairy farm. That's Nicolet County, Minnesota.
Okay.
Grew up there on the farm. Loved cows from the time I could walk.
Okay.
Worked with our dairy herd. And unfortunately, we had to sell our dairy herd when I was a senior in high school when my mom passed away. But I kept my 4-H cow for a number of years after that. I really love cows. Still do.
Always been a part of you.
Always been a part of me.
Okay.
You bet.
Well, you lead the way, Ruth. We'll just now, as we go into the garage here, you can see, folks, we have everywhere we look, we have some amazing pieces. But
This is the overflow. I ran out of room in the house, so some of them ended up coming out to the garage.
Okay, and we have a little helper here. We got Buddy.
Come on, buddy. Come on.
I take it Buddy must like cows by default.
By default, that's right.
Okay, so here we are, Ruth's beautiful home, and I'll just pan around, folks.
I tell people they have to look up, down, and around because they're everywhere.
And Ruth, when did you start compiling? Tell the story. What was what made you start collecting?
Well, in the mid-1970s, I was working in Gaylord in County Extension work with 4-H, and I went to a household auction in Winthrop, and by chance there was a statue, kind of a plaster figurine of a cow and a calf, and I bought it just because I liked it, not because I ever thought of collecting cows.
Right.
Why I didn't collect cows as a kid, I don't know, but I really wasn't collecting. I just bought it because I liked it, brought it home, and then pretty soon I got another piece, and then another piece, and then I started digging out the pieces I had yet from 4-H days.
Sure.
And I moved out to this house in July of 1979.
Okay.
And all the pieces I had at that time fit on the ledge in the stairwell, about 4 inches wide and about 6 feet long. That's where they all fit in July of 79.
Ruth, you've been busy.
And now they fill every room, every wall, and there are a few pieces in storage, some wall hangings, because I don't have any walls left to put them on.
Well, Ruth, you hop in here and tell us your stories. Now, you've been involved with the Lions Club locally and also with the farm show here.
Yep. I've been a member of the Lions for 20 years, and Lions often have trading pins.
Okay.
They don't all have cows on them, but some of them do. Other pins are on the front of my vest, but I have cows on the back of the vest, and then I also have 2 bulletin boards with cows on them. This board I just put up recently because the other one was full, and I'm afraid that one will get full too over time.
Well, we'll continue on here, folks. Now, Ruth, we were chatting before we started the video, and first, let me zoom in on the plaque here, folks. This is the actual certificate from the Guinness World Records, and it was awarded to you June of 15, Ruth?
2015, yep. After I had 2 friends come in, reputable people, came in and counted every piece in the house. Even though I had a computer list that listed every piece and described every piece, Guinness wouldn't accept that. They wanted someone to actually count them. Unfortunately, I had friends, retired district court judge Tom McCarthy and his wife Patty, who volunteered to do the job, and they spent 2 days counting cows.
2 days?
Actually, they had budgeted 3 days in their schedule, but they got it done in 2.
Well, you folks here in south central Minnesota are very efficient. But
That's a good
I
thing.
was wondering about how do you verify with Guinness and what they require?
They also required a videotape. They wanted the computer list, but they wouldn't accept the count. They had to fill out an application, do other documentation.
It was quite a process.
Quite a process, yes.
Okay. And I understand with every item in the home, in your whole collection, you're over 18,000 pieces, you have little numbers on the bottom?
Every piece should have a number on it, and I'll be lucky if... Yep, there's a number on a sticker. 11,982 it looks like.
So you have a spreadsheet, 18,000 items all documented. You sent that to Guinness, and they said, okay, cool, but that's not good enough.
That's right. This is because their comment was, how do we know they're all still there? Well, they're here because I haven't sold any, I haven't given any away.
Trust me.
The only ones I give away are duplicates.
Okay.
I do.
Wow.
Usually I have an open house once a year, and I have neighborhood kids be tour guides in different rooms of the house.
Okay.
And then at the end of the day, they get to clean out the duplicate box.
Oh, nice.
And they have fun with that.
I'll just pan around here again, folks. So now, Ruth, the previous Guinness record holder, in terms of cow-related items, how many pieces did they have?
Carol Tan from Southern Australia has 3,200.
Oh,
So I
poor
kind of blew her
Carol.
out of the water.
You went 5X on Carol. Wow. Again, I'll just pan
She
around
and I
here, folks.
communicate by Facebook every once in a while, and
Wow.
they have Australian records, and she had that, and then she applied and got the Guinness record for about a month before I aced her out.
Ruth, I think you may have the record for a little while.
I think so.
Now, I understand let's take us to your office.
Yep.
We'll just get you actually have a hard copy of all 18,000?
Yep, I have a printout.
I have to be careful here, folks. I'm a little bigger than I should be this winter. I've been eating too much. I have to squeeze in here. Okay.
You're tall,
so,
and I'm short, so I hang things everywhere.
okay, so this is our printout.
This
Look
is-
at that. So what are some of the last items?
Okay, the Dairy Star newspaper celebrating 20 years. Oh, let's look at it. Oh, the Lions pins are all in here. The whole bunch that I got just recently.
It's like a full-time job just documenting this.
You know, sometimes I get a pile of items on my desk before I get around to documenting them. And now, since I got the record, I'm also photographing every new piece so that I can send a disc to Guinness and say,
Wow.
here's the 1,000 pieces that have been added since, or the 2,000 or 3,000 have been added since.
It sounds, Ruth, now the documenting and photography, those play in. You have a journalist. You're writing. You're a journalist.
I spent almost 28 years as working at the local newspaper, the Lafayette Nicollet Ledger. Retired from there 7 years ago.
Okay.
But I flunked retirement in a month and went back to work writing for a woman's magazine and also for Dairy Star newspaper.
Okay.
So I do some writing for both of them.
How do you find time to search out for your new treasures?
Oh, you know, I can walk through a store and suddenly I'll see something. Walmart here recently put out the new Easter things, and they had an Easter cow.
Okay.
So that came home with me. I like to go to flea markets in summer, antique shows.
Sure.
Don't get a lot of time to do it because I've got so many other things. I'm a volunteer in a lot of organizations, including the Farm City Hub
Yes,
Club.
right.
I'm secretary of that, and I'm on the farm show committee. So,
Okay.
and
I'll pan around here, Ruth.
Yep.
I imagine over the years your friends have they tipped you off to, like, oh my gosh, Ruth, you have to see this.
oh
this new
yes,
piece.
oh yes. Look at the 4 cow heads there.
Okay.
My nephew's wife spotted that at Hobby Lobby a year ago in winter, and she sends me a picture of it and says, I thought of you when I saw this. And first she didn't think it was quite as big or quite as expensive, but then she went back and got it, and it was a few dollars more than I intended to pay, but she got it, and she brought it down to New Ulm to me. She lives in the cities.
Very cool.
And so it's a very, very special piece. So something else had to move off the wall to make room for that one.
And I love this is just amazing, folks. Now, over on your desk, Ruth, we have a picture. That kind of a special picture. Now, you were actually state champion with your special cow back in, what was it, 1960?
1966.
Okay.
Princess, Klossner Princess Delight, was the champion of the Registered Holstein show at the Minnesota State Fair 4-H show.
And for folks who aren't aware of the Minnesota State Fair, Ruth, I mean, I know being a Minnesotan, but tell people what the Minnesota State Fair is. A huge, huge deal.
We have a very big dairy show at the State Fair, and the 4-H show is very big, very strong.
Right.
And I was kind of a nobody. This was the very first registered Holstein, homebred registered Holstein on our farm. And for this kid coming out of nowhere with this one good cow, when all the kids that their families have been breeding Holsteins for years. So that was kind of highly unusual for that to happen.
This was a special kid and a special cow.
Well, I know about the special cow for sure. She was always my favorite because the first homebred and a good cow.
right.
Then picture up there when she was older in milking form, you know, she was probably about 10 years, close to 10 years old the time that was taken.
And Ruth, 1967.
I was
National.
the National Holstein girl, yep. Boy from New York was the National Holstein boy, and I was the National Holstein girl.
Wow.
So.
Do you have pictures of Princess's offspring then too?
Yeah, over on this wall, if you can, we got a picture of Klossner Marquis King, her son,
Okay.
and Klossner Reflection Mark Queen down below her daughter.
Uh-huh.
And then there's another daughter over here. Let's see if I can get that one out for you. That would be Mark. No, that I forgot the name of this one. That was the younger daughter, and then there's the bull, the same bull marking in there. So there's 3 different offspring. I have pictures of.
Now let's go back to your record book here, Ruth. You what were some of the first items? Were these back to your 4-H days?
Yeah, in the 80s, when I got a computer and learned how to use a spreadsheet, I took the first. Well, here's number 1, the True Type cow, which I got when I was the Nicola County Holstein girl in 1964.
Okay.
But when I learned how to use the spreadsheet, I typed everything in of all the pieces I had at the time, which is probably 150 pieces or so. And I had listed when I remembered that I got them, or if I bought them, what I paid for them, that kind of a thing. And I had the computer put them in order, the ones I'd had the longest.
Now, Ruth, if I were to say number 18, Japanese cow keychain.
That one I could find that one.
With 18,000, you know where it is, and
But
have
there's
memories of it.
there's a lot of them that I couldn't. There's a
Okay.
lot of them that when I'm going around the shelves, I look at them and I go, where did this come from? I don't even remember it.
Well, Ruth, okay, let's go out to the living room now. I'll let you lead the way, and I'll get a shot of the wonderful
Yep, the dog bed's there.
milk bottles down here, folks. Fantastic stuff.
Even the dog has to sleep in a cow bed.
I don't think Buddy minds.
He doesn't mind. He puts up with me.
And even, there you go. Everywhere we go. Well, we'll turn the corner here, folks. And how big is Bernadette?
4 houses, 5 people, 4 dogs, 18 chickens, and 2 cats. And the minister has the chickens. She loves her chickens.
Now, Ruth actually has a sign-in book. You must get, so come on, call Ruth, find that day to come out. But there you go. But must have had people from all over the world stop in.
I've had people, got a little tally chart back here in the back of the book, if I can get to it. All the states, all the countries,
Wow.
and provinces of Canada. I think it's about 29 states and 27 countries.
And Ruth, we missed it in the office, but I know your story has been told on TV shows here in Upper Midwest and actually farm magazines overseas, won't you?
There's photographer from Denmark was at the Minnesota State Fair one year when I every year I go to the State Fair and I do photography of the champion 4-H animals.
Sure.
And this photographer from Denmark was there. I got talking to him, and I happened to have my laptop out in the show ring where I was working, and I showed him some pictures of my collection. He came back about an hour later. He says, "Could I come to your house?" And I says, "Yeah." I said, "I live about 80 miles from here, but if you want..." "Oh, I'm going to be in southern Minnesota next week. I'm going to come to your house." So he came. He did an article in the Danish newspaper, an agricultural newspaper. I've also been written up in a Polish agricultural magazine. They somehow heard about me and they wanted just one photo first of something fun. Well, we sent a picture of the Christmas tree with the cow lights on it.
Sure.
But I also sent her some other photos. She said, "I got to do a whole story on this."
Absolutely.
So there's the whole story in the Polish magazine that I can't read.
Now, Ruth, I understand some sentimental value here. And I asked you before, I said, Ruth, you must get asked this all the time, but your favorite items. I mean, it's hard to pick, but...
There are 2.
Okay.
If I have to pick some.
Okay.
This definitely is one. This is a painting done from the photo of my 4-H cow from 1966. And this was done about 5 or 10 years ago. And it actually was done as a gift to me by a group that visited the Moo-seum.
Okay.
I have never charged admission. I tell people all I ask for from them is an autograph. That's their admission, is to sign my Guinness book. And I've had about 6,000 people have signed the Guinness
And
book.
it's the Moo-seum.
The Moo-seum.
Love it. Love it.
And actually, I didn't even come up with that. Some friends of mine who do crafts came up with it and made a welcome sign for me that said Moo-seum. And I go, yep, you hit it on the head. And it's been the Moo-seum ever since.
Awesome.
But so this painting is based on the photo of Princess Klossner, Princess Delight. And this model done by a woman from down at Amboy, she does all kinds of animal models. She painted that with Princess's spots.
Beautiful.
I almost couldn't have it done though, because you have to have a photo of both sides of your cow.
Ah.
And for show cows are usually photographed from the show ring side.
Right.
I found one Polaroid picture I had of Princess of the back side, so I could have my model made. And if I guess when I look at it, I go, is that what her backside looked like? I always saw that side, you know.
Right.
But that's just the way it is with show cows.
Well, Ruth, I'll pan around here now. This again, the living room. And you say in the Christmas time you have a tree here in the.
I usually put a tree up over there in front of the window. I move things around, and I get a real tree, and I put about 120 cow lights on it. I don't move the ornaments off the walls.
Okay.
I just put the lights on.
Wow.
Got to show you this piece too.
Okay. So Ruth Klossner, Guinness World Record. So when you got the record in 15, you were just over 15,000?
Yeah, it was just over 15,000. But what's special about this is the people who did the counting, Tom McCarthy and his wife, had this made for me. So they're still my friends, even after they spent 2 days counting cows. Every time I see them, we joke about counting cows. But they found this bell. They had the plate made. And that's really special that the people who did the counting thought enough to have that made.
Some real Minnesota determination there, because I imagine after you sent the whole spreadsheet and everything to Guinness, and they're like, well, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
Probably 98% of people would have just ditched it.
I was ready to, because I really didn't think anybody would want to take the time to count them. And Tom says, I'm retiring this summer. I'm going to have time. We're going to get this done. It was his determination.
So again, Tom
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
He was a district court judge in Sibley County and had retired the summer of 2015. And he and his wife spent the 2 days counting cows.
His wife's name again?
Patty.
Tom and Patty. Well,
McCarthy.
thank you, Tom and Patty, for helping Ruth out here and getting this in the record book. I'll just pan around again here, folks. Behind me, the couch. We have some friendly cows there down on the floor. Some beautiful paintings and
Those
pictures.
are all Bonnie Moore prints. Bonnie Moore from up at Glencoe. She grew up over here at St. George, not far from where I did.
What is her name again?
Bonnie Moore.
From Glencoe, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she's probably the premier painter of dairy cattle in the world. She does a lot of... All the prints in here are all by Bonnie.
Wow. Look at that stuff. Folks, if you, I guess Google Bonnie from Glencoe.
Yep, Bonnie Moore.
Tell her Ruth says hi. Would that be okay?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And you know, when Bonnie started painting back in the 80s or 90s, I wrote the very first news article on her for our local newspaper, because I heard about her painting cows.
Wow.
I'm going, hey, that's a good local news story.
Absolutely.
And I wrote the first story, and it was then reprinted in Country Magazine, and that helped get her career going. And so,
Cool.
and the nativity picture up there over the entertainment center, I took photos of people dressed in costume for her, and then in winter she could sit down and paint her nativity scene based on the people I had photographed for her.
Wow.
So I had a hand in that one.
Very cool. Are these, boy, I forget, my wife collects pieces.
Village pieces.
Was it something 93?
Well, there's Department 56.
Or 56?
There's a Department 56. One of the top ones is a Department 56.
Okay. Probably
These
a bunch of companies that make
yeah.
quality collections.
Hallmark and all the different companies, and Ace Hardware has barns every year, and I've found a lot of barns. I'm running out of space for them too, but I only have barns. I have one veterinary clinic, kind of the tan one down there, and then I've got a creamery over there and a little milk truck. Otherwise, the rest are all barns. My cows don't need any houses.
And Ruth, what are your memories of growing up on the dairy farm in Klossner, Minnesota?
I loved it. I love cows from the time I could walk. I've got a couple photos in my office of some of my first pet calves, Midnight and Sally. Midnight was a pet I had for probably 6 or 8 years. I think she should have probably been gone to market earlier, but Dad knew he didn't dare sell her because that was my cow.
Right.
I could put a single strand of store string around her neck and walk her out our driveway, and she would follow me like a dog. If the string broke, she'd just either follow me or wait till I tied it together, and she was something else.
Very cool.
Gonna show you this piece.
Sure.
This is the one that's responsible for the collection. This is the one I bought at a household auction in the mid-1970s just because I liked it. And then
That was at the auction?
that was at the household auction in Winthrop, probably the mid-1970s.
Okay.
And like I say, I just bought it because it was neat.
Just reminded you, it's kind of nostalgia.
Never thinking I'd start collecting, but then pretty soon I got another piece and another piece. And like they say, the rest is history.
Amazing. Okay, Ruth, now let's head into the kitchen here. We have some more. Well, there's stories everywhere here, Ruth. Oh, people, boy, they must just love hearing you talk about your pieces and the stories behind them.
I always pull this one out and I ask people what they think it's made out of.
What is it made out of?
White chocolate. I got it in the Netherlands in 2000. And it's been sitting here ever since.
19-year-old white chocolate.
Yeah.
That's
And don't
fantastic.
tell Buddy, but this one's a dog biscuit.
If a buddy only knew.
If Buddy only knew.
Oh. There
So
we go.
there's all
Just
kinds
keep
of stories.
turning around.
Oh, this one.
I was kind of hoping you'd tell me what that was.
About a year and a half ago, a woman from River Falls, Wisconsin, called me and said, I have this cow collection. I read about you in the St. Paul Pioneer Press a couple years ago. I saved the article. I'm ready to give up my cows. You can have them all. And I go, huh? And she says, I got a lot of them. Well, friend and I went out. We went through them. I came back with 10 plastic totes full of cow items. Over 500 pieces I got from her. This is one of them.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I love it, Ruth. It looks wonderful.
So,
And you never seen that item
never
before.
seen anything like that one before.
Do you remember where she said she got it?
I'm thinking Philippines or a country like that. I've got it written down,
Wow.
but right offhand I don't remember exactly what.
There you go, folks.
But-
Probably never seen that before, but
Nope.
there you go. In the museum, we can see anything and everything. From the cow lady, Ruth Klossner. I'll just pan
Oh,
up here, folks.
another cool one came in at a thrift store in Mankato that my friend manages.
Okay.
It's the Bulls and the Bears. Little tiny bulls, and I'll pull them here.
Okay.
It's a tic-tac-toe game.
Oh, there we go. There's only one real way to play tic-tac-toe, and this is it, right
With the
there.
Bulls and the Bears.
Bulls and the Bears.
But for it to come in at a thrift store
And Mankato is
in
just
Mankato,
down the road. Was that half hour
Yep.
from here?
and Heather fortunately was working the donations that day and spotted it and saved it for me.
I knew it had to be with Ruth's collection.
That's right.
It looks like we got a little band going here on the table.
Oh, one of my favorite moves. I found that one in a small shop in the back part of a store in Branson, Missouri. And I mean, I used to find a lot of things. There were especially cow shops in Branson, but that one was in just a small shop. There was just a bunch of other junk. Then we got the Mad Cow here, which is fun too.
Mad cow. Where did you find this guy, Ruth?
Actually, that one was a gift exchange, a family gift exchange at Christmas. A gal from Montana was part of that gift exchange, and she
Okay.
brought it from Montana. Somebody else actually got it in the gift exchange, but everybody says, Ruth, you need that, so we
Ruth
traded.
has to have it. Well, Ruth, behind you, we have there's special pieces all over here. And you kind of set me up and told me the story here. But really a special item here. Why don't you fill us in?
This is Tipofina.
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 It's a cream pitcher.
Okay.
How you'd ever keep it clean, I have no idea.
No kidding.
I got it as a gift from movie actress Tippi Hedren
Tippi Hedren.
of The Birds.
The Birds.
Alfred Hitchcock's movie, The Birds.
Hitchcock.
And how this all came about was in the year 2000, City of Lafayette had City Centennial.
Okay.
And as I was a member of the committee, and we decided the most famous person ever to come out of Lafayette was Tippi. We'd ask her to be Grand Marshal of our parade. And fortunately, I had gotten to be friends with her older sister, Patty, a couple years before that. So that helped to, grease the wheel to get this all going. And Tippy agreed to come and be Grand Marshal. And as it turned out, instead of putting her up in a hotel, which we planned to do, she said, I'd rather stay with my sister. Well, her sister, Patty, and Patty's family was staying here at my house. So Tippy stayed here at my house. That was in 2000. She was Grand Marshal of the parade. We had a ball. Well, 5 years ago, she came back to New Ulm to speak. And I wrote a story about her for the woman's magazine I write for. And spent a day with her. And her first words when I met her, when she got here, was, I brought you some small cow items for your collection, but I've got one more for you, but you're going to have to wait for it. I go, okay. I'm going to leave it to you in my will. And I go, whoa, what is this? Well, after she was here 5 years ago and visited my house again and looked at all my cows, she went home to California. She calls me up and she says, the cow and I decided she wants to come live with you now. So Tippy mailed me the cow, Tippafina, and it was made in about 1890s in either Germany, Italy, or the Netherlands, and Tippy got it as a wedding gift in the 1950s when she married Peter Griffith.
Wow.
So from her wedding gift to my house comes Tippafina. Very, very special piece.
And folks, especially our young viewers out there, if you haven't seen the movie The Birds, find it. I don't care if it's on Netflix. You have to rent it. Watch it. It's a classic movie. And Tippi Hedren, a South Central Minnesota girl who didn't forget her roots.
No, Tippy did not forget her roots. She had a ball when she's back here in Lafayette.
That is awesome.
She just thought it was just so great to be back here in small town
Ruth,
America.
you're just a little exemplar of how your collection and your passion for it and your openness in sharing it with people, it makes a difference. It brings a smile. It means something to people.
Oh, it's really fun to watch people come through here, especially older people who milk cows and this and that. And downstairs I've got milking machines, I've got strainers, I've got all those kinds of pails and everything else. And, it reminds people of what they did on the farm. Right. And all the different breeds of cows. I've got people that, have different breeds, and they say, oh, you've got an Ayrshire, you've got a Guernsey, you've got yeah, it's not all Holsteins.
Right.
It's just like the real cows, 90% Holsteins, but and so there are even some beef cattle in the collection too. My motto is, if it's bovine, it's fine.
I love your motto, Ruth. This is fantastic. All right, we'll head into the next room here, and I'll have to sneak by Mr. Wind Chime Cow. There we go. Oh, some more special items here.
This is the piece that has number 1 in the collection, because when I had the computer, put them in order by the ones I'd had the longest.
Yep.
This is the piece I got in 1964 when I was the Nicollet County Holstein girl.
So you were like a sophomore then? Or junior?
Oh, let's see.
Kid?
64, I was 16, so,
okay.
Yep. And it's got the number 1 on its sticker.
There you go. Little did you know back in 1964, Ruth.
What that would lead to. Actually, this set of the cow, bull, and calf should probably have number 1, 2, and 3. I had these pieces in probably the 50s when I was a kid.
Little girl. Okay.
But I gave them to my nieces and nephews as I got a little older. And a few years ago, my oldest niece comes back with a box and she says, I think these are yours. Well, she knew well enough that they were, but she had to bring them back to me. So they really are the pieces I had back in the 50s.
Ruth, let me back up a little bit now. You clued me into the story here, but when you were a young girl and loved cows, and you got the idea that you wanted your folks to buy you,
Yep.
you pick it up.
My princess cow, I said, is the first homebred, purebred on the farm.
State champion cow.
The state champion one. It goes back to the summer of 1960. I really wanted a purebred calf, and we had.
Were how old?
I had been 12 then.
Okay.
We only had grades on the farm, and they weren't very good grades, and I would show them in 4-H and get red or white ribbons. And I really wanted a purebred calf, so the summer of 60, I hatched a plan. I decided I'm going to work awful hard this summer, and maybe when we're all done at the summer, I can convince my folks that it was worth it, that they should buy me a calf. So I baled hay, I raked hay, I did everything I could on the farm, and got to be later summer. I said, Mom, I worked kind of hard. Do you think maybe you could buy me a purebred? And I knew the system in our family was, you ask Mom, she says, go ask Dad. You go ask Dad, and then you shut up for a few days and let them talk it over. Okay, we'll buy you a purebred. Well, we didn't even know where to go to buy a purebred calf. Sure. My brother he was farming on his own.
Brother's name?
Harvey. And he had heard about a guy up at Lester Prairie that had a few registered calves for sale. So one Saturday, my mom and my brother and I hooked up our old wooden trailer to our farm, to our car. We drive up to Lester Prairie. The farmer's got 3 July calves, because 4-H days you wanted the oldest calf in the class.
Sure.
He had 3 July calves to pick from. I picked the darkest colored one, which her name was Delight. Brought Delight home, raised her. She wasn't any better than the grades we had. She didn't look any better. And as it turned out, her first year she didn't milk any better either. But her very first calf was Princess. And Princess turned out to be the show ring champion and produced over 1,000 pounds of butterfat.
Wow.
And Delight, as she got older, ended up with a record over 600 pounds too. Even after she was crippled, she lost 1 foot or claw of a foot to foot rot. But Delight ended up being okay too. But first homebred, purebred. And all because I was raking and baling hay hard so I could get a purebred calf.
Because Ruth hatched a plan.
I hatched a plan, and it worked.
Lesson out there for you kids: get something in your head, don't give up, go for it.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
We got Japanese cows here. The top 3 shelves on each side are from Japan. I had friends who were living in Japan in the late 1990s. They said, get over here in 97. There's Japanese cows everywhere. So I came home with a whole
And that
boatload.
was the year of the ox?
It's in the Oriental calendar. Every year is the year of an animal.
Right.
And every 12 years it's the year of the ox. So 97 was the year of the ox. And I went over there and came home with Japanese cows.
Now you came home with this stuff. How did you get it all home, Ruth?
My friends gave me one of their suitcases, a big old hard-sided suitcase. We packed these very carefully, stuff in between. And it was also November, and they wanted me to bring their Christmas letters home so we could mail them, or their son could mail them here and not have to pay foreign postage.
Sure.
So we packed their Christmas letters between the cows, between little boxes. And we even had this piece down here in there, which weighs 17 pounds by itself.
Oh.
I dragged the suitcase through the airport. Luckily, that was before they charged extra for
Ruth,
overweight.
You're a farm girl. That's bring it, right? You got this.
You bring it, yep. These 2 shelves are full of Swiss cows.
Okay.
My ancestry, the name Klossner, is Swiss.
Okay.
And I've been in Switzerland 3 times. The first time a friend and I went over, and luckily we stayed in the right place. We met people there. We met a Klossner, Carl and Erica Klossner, who couldn't speak English, but this retired school teacher across the street could.
Okay.
So between them, they answered letters. We ended up staying with them.
Hmm.
I heard of a genealogist over there. Asked him if he knew anything about Klossners who had come to America. He writes back, dear cousin Ruth. His name was Nielsen. He writes back, dear cousin Ruth. I go, what? My great-grandmother was a Klossner. I've done the family tree back to the 1400s. Wow. Here's where you fit in on, because I had said who my ancestors were. The Klossners I met the first year were my 7th cousins.
Wow.
Then I was back again once more after that. So
where in Switzerland was this?
Diemtigen, Switzerland. It's in the Simmental Valley.
Okay.
And the cows there are not brown Swiss cows in that particular part of the country. They're all Simmentals, red and white Simmental,
Okay.
dual purpose, but more tending toward milking.
Okay.
And we were out on a farm, several farms actually, where they had the Simmentals and good cows.
So Ruth, this your passion, your collection here is just really an extension of your heritage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All my ancestors were cheesemakers over there,
Okay.
Way back. So
Wow.
I guess it comes naturally.
We'll just pan around here, folks. Hello there, Mr. Cow. Just amazing.
Oh, there's a rug that didn't get put back
And
down.
Ruth, the people, do you get a lot of requests for people who want to come visit?
Yeah, I welcome people anytime by appointment, so I'll make sure I'm home.
Sure.
I did have one couple showed up once a couple years ago in summer. There was a knock on the door one day in summer, and I was busy doing something,
Sure.
and they said, we want to see the Moo-seum. I'm like, oh, geez, tours should be by appointment.
Right.
But I got talking to them. Here they were from Sweden. They had read about me in a book, and they said, we were in the United States last year. We went to big things last year. We decided we wanted to see smaller, more unique things this summer. They ended up at my door on a Tuesday morning or whatever, and I spend quite a bit of time showing them around. But usually tours should be by appointment. But I welcome individuals, groups. I've had school groups. I've had bus tours. I've had mystery tours.
Mystery? What's a mystery tour?
That's when somebody plans a tour and doesn't tell the people who are coming where they're going or what they're going to see.
Okay.
And they'll have usually 2 or 3 stops. And this was Chuck Thiel up at Lester Prairie who planned this mystery tour. came here. I went to the Hutterite colony over at Gibbon, had lunch over at the Hutterites, and made some other stops.
Wow.
But the first time he brought a busload, they didn't know they were coming here.
Mystery tour, I love it.
Yep.
You must have got some good reactions, I bet.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was fun.
Lester Prairie is a great dairy area up
Yeah.
there too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I look behind you, Ruth, I see a lot of I see some apparel.
Oh yeah. There's probably about 600 items of apparel in the collection, according to my people who did the counting.
Do you rotate into your wardrobe, or is this mostly for display?
Most of them are on display, though.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll pull one out and wear a different. The ones I wear are usually more over in the bedroom. I keep them over there. There's some I wear more regularly.
Duck Commander.
A little bit of everything.
That's good.
When I have open house in December, usually I have an open house, and I have neighborhood kids as tour guides. They get to take a shirt down off the wall and wear it.
Oh, cool.
And you'll also find a lot of cow slippers here. They're all kind of thrown on the bed from the last time the kids were here, because the first thing they want to find is cow slippers to wear.
Oh.
Cow slippers, cow shirt, cow hat. They get all decked out. But
Oh, that's fantastic. And in Minnesota, we really can't have too many slippers.
no.
It's cold and okay. Well, I will scooch out of the way here, Ruth, and you.
We'll go on next into the bedroom.
Okay.
Oh, the dog's already in bed.
There you go, buddy.
This is my bedroom.
Wow.
Cow shirts hanging there. Some of them that I wear. In fact, I was wearing this one last night. We were setting up for the farm show, and
There you go.
um,
Now, pencils.
some of these date back actually to before I even started grade school. My first collection that I had in my life was wooden advertising pencils.
Okay.
And some of these date back there. I had a lot of pencils, but then I pulled out the ones that have something to do with dairy in one way or the other.
Sure.
Whether it's feed company, breeding, even rendering works. That's got something to do with dairy.
Wow.
The spotted ones, of course, are the newer ones, but
Sure.
the older ones are up there. Then I took the doors off of one set of closets,
Oh, absolutely. We have
And,
to see what's in there.
filled it with a whole pile of cows. Oh, we got to throw
Now,
this.
Ruth, how often do you say no when you see something? Is it hard to draw the line? Or
It is. Sometimes it's a matter of, well, do I want to spend the money for it? Or
are you able to remember which pieces you have and don't have?
most of the time I do,
Okay.
but I have come home with duplicates. It's happened.
And you say with the duplicates, sometimes when you have the kids lead tours?
When the kids lead tours, I have a box of duplicates in the back room that they get to clean out and take home. So they're starting cow collections too. I don't know what their moms think of that, but
And Buddy doesn't abscond with said cow here or there?
the only thing he likes to play with are a fabric toy that's got a squeaker in it.
Okay.
There is a cow somewhere that's got a squeaker in it, and I hope he never finds it. Because if he does, he'll claim it.
It's all over.
Yep.
Okay.
Because he loves squeaker toys.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff.
These 4 little cows are the ones that Tippy Hedren brought the last time she was here, when she said, I brought you some little ones, but
Cool.
but you got one more coming.
Cool. Well, you must have made friends all over the world. I mean,
Yeah.
from
Well, the gal in Southern Australia that had the record, she and I communicate quite often on Facebook.
okay.
So
Now I got to ask you, Ruth. We got bedspread there. We got some red tractors. Did you grow up with Farmalls or the?
well, we had a Farmal H
Okay.
and a Farmal 300, and Dad had 2 Olivers, and we had the Ford, and we'll see more Ford.
Yeah, and we will get to that, folks. Kind of
Yep.
the like, I don't know what to call it. The crowning piece of the collection.
Yep.
Okay, so on we go. We have a shower curtain. Oh,
Toilet paper holder, toilet seat cover.
you've taken this quite seriously, Ruth.
Oh, and it's not always me either. Sometimes people find things,
Yeah,
or they
right.
travel. I've got friends who are in New Zealand. They came back with a couple cows from New Zealand.
Sure.
So I get things from all over that way too, besides my
There you
own
go.
travels.
Wow, very cool. All right, we'll pan around. You don't have toothpaste with a cow on the tube of toothpaste.
No,
do you?
but I've got a couple of toothbrushes that are cows.
Okay, there you go.
Come on, that head should pull off.
Now, 18,000 pieces. If I said, Ruth, where'd you get this one?
Sometimes I can tell you. Sometimes I'll look at it.
But
and
you
go,
have them
"Duh."
numbered. You have it numbered,
It
so you
should
could
be
look.
numbered. Yep. Some of the
Okay.
numbers have fallen off of the older pieces, which makes
Sure.
it harder. But I know my niece and nephew from Malacca got me this pair.
Got
This
you
pair
those
right there. Mm-hmm.
from Malacca. Okay.
Yep. I remember Mark and Kathy got those.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
like I said,
Well, let's scooch back into the kitchen area here. Now, Ruth, where are you going to take us next?
we're going to go downstairs for a quick trip around there.
Okay. Looks like we have just a few items here as we head downstairs.
See, and this is the ledge where they all fit in 1979.
Wow.
And I had one set of hooks.
That was a short 40 years ago, Ruth.
Yeah, a short 40 years.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Into the basement, folks. I'll pan around slowly. Hats. How many hats would you guess you have?
Oh gosh,
Like
30, 40, 50. I don't know, because there's some in the other room too. There's a bunch upstairs.
Sure.
There's probably easily 50. Wow. Check. Welcome, friends and udders. That piece was dropped off over at our church across the road with a note taped on it that said, and the outside it said, Ruth. The inside the note says, can I go home with you? I want to live at the Moo-seum. I still don't know who left it there. That's about
Anonymous.
15 years ago.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That happens every once in a while.
Well, again, Ruth, you're making a connection with people who enjoy your passion and what you've compiled here. Very cool.
And you know, and people get so excited when they find something I don't have, you know.
Sure.
For Christmas and birthday, that's about all I get is cows, and that's fine.
It's okay by Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Wow. Now look at this. What are these? Are these
Creamers and sugars and salt and peppers.
Salt
That's
and
salt and
peppers.
peppers over here. Creamers and sugars
Okay.
there. Yep.
Well, you know, Ruth, I was in Casson last weekend tagging along with my wife Jackie in an antique store, and I posted on Twitter, but I found out a salt and pepper shaker that were Harvest Store.
Okay.
I don't think no cows on them, but otherwise, I'd pick them up for you.
A lot of banks in here.
Okay.
Belt buckles up here and spoons, miniatures, rubber stamps up at the top. I try to group things as much as I can, but
Okay.
I don't always, like there's a whole set of banks upstairs too, because, you know, when you get over here, watch this. I can go right under, but
Lots of moolah.
yep.
Gotta love that. Okay.
So watch your
Yep.
head.
Gotcha. Wow.
This has gotten to be a catch-all of a
Wow.
whole. I wish I had another shelf to put them on, but I'm running out of space. So
Well, I'm happy to see the Fisher Price barn over there.
Oh, yeah.
Was,
Yep.
when I was a kid in the Peterson household. We wore that out. That's good stuff.
yeah, there's the old metal barns. I got one there, and
Do you get a lot of reactions, Ruth? People, they'll find one particular piece and they'll say, "Oh,
oh yeah.
I remember this."
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
And I've got one tractor and one manure spreader. The very first time I invited people in to see my collection, I'm showing them around, and I find the manure spreader between the cows. And I go, what the heck? My dad was a jokester.
Okay.
He had stopped at Runnings in New Ulm, bought the manure spreader, planted it between the cows, and when I finally found it, he's giggling. He says, with all those cows, you need at least one spreader. The neighbor boy gave me the tractor to go with it.
That's
so I
going to
could
be a
poke.
busy spreader.
Yeah. mhm.
Oh, wow.
And I got one hay bale, and people say I'm not feeding my cows enough. I say when they eat that, then they'll get more. They haven't eaten it yet.
Oh, fantastic.
And my barnyard probably wouldn't pass inspection. It's a little tight.
Yeah, if they knew you, though, I think you'd be okay, Ruth. You'd be okay. We'll keep PETA folks out.
Yeah.
Oh,
We have a couple Rubes shirts that are really good, funny.
awesome.
These are from about the 1990s, early
Okay.
1990s, because I talked to the artist, and I said I had these shirts, and he goes, "Which ones have you got?" And I told him which ones. He says, "Man, that was a long time ago, and I
Ah.
did those."
Collector items, probably.
Yep.
Very cool. Wow, it just doesn't stop, Ruth.
doesn't
this is
stop.
fantastic.
Nope.
Oh, we'll do a little pan up here, folks.
Egg cartons.
Egg cartons, I like
I
that.
bought the house in 79. In 80, we put the winter between 79 and 80, we put the ceiling tile out there. My dad and sister helped me with that. And by the time I got that done, I was broke. But I wanted something in here. This at that time was my home darkroom. I
Sure.
did black and white photography.
Oh, sure.
And I wanted something on the ceiling, so I had seen this in a Saddle Club clubhouse one time.
Yep.
So I went to old Raiders Hatchery in New Ulm, bought a stack of flats. Dad and I nailed them up, and that was in probably February of 1980, and they've been up there ever since.
I think I've actually seen a setup like this for acoustics, for
it
audio
would,
recording.
It would work, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we'll scooch around here, folks, and again, here you go. Every piece has a number, Ruth. That's amazing.
They should have, yep, they are
Just
numbered
amazing.
on the list, and they should have a sticker on. These over here are candles and candle holders. There's
Okay.
a whole pile of them in there. And we got tins, and we
Ooh,
got
love the tins.
a little of everything.
Got some, yep. There's not much you don't have here. So now, what is this drink? Orange.
Yeah, that was the upstairs there's even a beer bottle with from Wisconsin. That's
Okay.
beer.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that one's upstairs. We got puzzles here. A couple puzzles I'll never touch.
Hmm.
Impossibles. Borderless puzzle with 5 extra pieces.
Okay.
And if that's not going to drive you nuts, try this one.
Ooh, now that one looks,
520 piece puzzle, double-sided, same artwork on both sides, but one of them's turned 90 degrees.
that to me, just the vintage it looks like. Is that like early 70s or something? Or mid-70s?
Let's see. 4,297. Yeah, it wouldn't be. It'll be 80s or 90s
Okay.
probably.
Okay.
Because I didn't start collecting until.
Never open it, huh?
Nope. I'm not opening those.
Okay, now Ruth, I don't think there's any way we could capture everything. But there's one more item we
Yep.
need to show people. All right, I'm gonna stop the video here, and then we're
Okay.
gonna. Okay, folks, we have one more room before we head out to the
A
garage.
couple milkers.
Oh, there we go.
The nipple pail. We got some feed pails here somewhere.
So this is taking you right back.
Yep. The old seamed bucket is the kind I learned to milk with. So,
Okay.
and then we got the seamless bucket.
You pick those up local?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Love it.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we'll head outside.
All right, folks. There's one more piece we got to show you. Ruth is sort of famous for this last item. You're going to enjoy it. I know it. All right, folks. Here it is. Ruth, your Ford 8N. Kind of the calling card to the Moo-seum.
That'd be about it. I take this to parades. When I was getting ready to retire from the newspaper, I told my brother, I ought to get a tractor for parades. He goes, yeah, what kind do you want? I go, I want a Ford. He goes, oh, he never liked Fords. But my brother has restored a number of tractors,
Yep.
so he was game for the job.
And did you grow up on an 8N?
I learned to drive on an 8N, a
Okay.
1949 8N that we had.
And how old were you when you learned to drive?
Probably 6.
Okay.
And I loved it. We've got the utility, we had the utility box in the back, just like I've got here.
Yep.
We hauled calves and we hauled feed and we did everything. I loved the Ford. My brother didn't. Of course, he had to, run it and fix
Sure.
it and stuff.
Sure.
So, but he was game. He went to an auction.
And you kind of told him you thought maybe when you retired you'd be looking for one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he started looking. We went different places, looked at a few. One Sunday he calls me. He says, "Well, I spent your money today. I bought a Ford." Okay, so he took it to his place up at Silver Lake, and before I even saw it, he had stripped it down, gutted it all the way down. He restored it. He painted the red. He painted the white, and I didn't even see it till he had that all done.
Okay.
And then I painted the black spots on, put the lettering on. We went to a flea market, Pioneer Power Flea Market. We found the seat, made in Italy.
Wow.
Nice cushiony seat for driving. A friend had the canopy, so we put it all together. And I take it to about 4 to 6 parades a summer.
I've had people tell me about the cow 8N. Ruth, what do people say when they see you tooling by, smiling, driving this thing? They must just smile.
They smile, they laugh, and especially the first time I took it out in parades and they'd never seen it, it's totally new to everybody. And
Right.
I hear a lot of comments, we had one of those when I was at home. We had a Ford. We had this.
Right.
Love your tractor. All these comments.
That's fantastic.
And,
now, Ruth, you drive the tractor to these events these days.
The first year I loaded it on a trailer, pulled, my pickup, and I go, this is kind of dumb. It takes me too long to load it, tie it down, all this stuff. So I go to parades that are within 20 miles of here. It takes me about an hour to get to them. The farthest ones are half hour, the closest ones. And it's kind of fun to go down the road at 20 miles an hour and look around at the countryside and
Sure.
see what's there.
Sure.
So, and I only go when it's warm weather.
Right.
I don't go anywhere in winter with it.
Oh, that is so special.
So,
Do you you don't know what year this is by chance?
this is a 50,
It's a
1950.
Okay.
So it's just about identical to the one we had at home.
Right.
Which I really like because I love that tractor at
Right.
home. And it's got the utility box on the back.
Okay.
I told my brother that was a must, we had to have the box.
Oh.
And he actually found and bought the box before he found the tractor.
Okay.
He spotted one, he says, there aren't many of those around anymore.
Was that up around Hutchinson too?
I don't remember where he bought that one.
Okay.
He goes,
And your brother's name again?
Harvey.
That did the restoration?
Harvey Klossner, yep.
Oh, he did beautiful work. And Ruth, I can't thank you enough
So,
for giving us the tour. And on behalf of people all over the world that love farming and ag and dairy farming, thank you for what you've done.
well, it's just been fun. I've always said the hunt is half of the fun, looking for new things and never knowing what you're going to find where. And to me, the biggest half of the fun is sharing it. I love having people come into the house and hear their comments as they see things that remind them
Right.
of growing up on the farm, or kids seeing cow things that are so neat, and you know, it's our way to connect with these kids too, to
Yeah, I
show
love
them
it.
a little about farming.
Yeah, you're telling the story and paying it forward. Again, thank you, Ruth, and boy, what a treat. And again, you live in Bernadotte, Minnesota here?
It's rural Lafayette,
Okay.
since Bernadotte hasn't had a post office for over 100 years, but it's known as Bernadotte, which was known for the international airport for about 30 years. Roger Erickson, WCCO Radio, made Bernadotte famous when he started talking
That's
about the
right.
airport, and it grew from, and it started with, he knew a farmer had a grass landing strip out here.
Right.
He started talking about the airport, and the other announcers kept growing, you know, adding on to
Right.
it. We had a university, a marching band, a shopping center, all kinds of stores, and
Folks don't know, WCCO Radio, beacon of the upper Midwest, 1,000,000 watts, and Raj was a legendary announcer.
and he had grown up a couple miles from here, or lived on a farm for a part of his life, a couple
Right.
miles from here.
Just passed a few years ago, I think,
Just
didn't it?
last year, I think
Last
it was,
year.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so,
we grew up with Raj's voice in our ear, and well, again, Ruth, just so much fun. Thank you for giving me the tour, and again, just on behalf of our audience, thank you for what you've done.
well, thank you for coming. I love sharing it.
Ram Trucks, premier vehicle of Machinery Pete TV.